I can actually see a reason why just have salespeople and not business development experts, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, you think about this, right? Like, I can see, but it goes down into what we're talking about before. Like, what is your culture about? It's like if you don't want to have, business development experts, and the intent is just nothing but a volume play, and it's just like a transactional thing of getting them in and getting them out as quick as possible. There are customers out there that just want that.
Welcome to the Strategy with Jason podcast. Tune in for everything you need to know to stay in the know regarding the automotive industry. Here's your host, Jason Harris.
There's one of the reasons why I do like going into the Apple store is that I don't have to stand in line at a checkout, or there is no checkout. There's no checkout, right? Like, I go up to the wall, I grab the new screen protector from my phone, I find one of the geniuses, and I'm like, okay, I need this. They're like, okay, no problem. Ding, sign here. I'm on and I'm out.
Yep.
Right? Because that's what I was looking for. So I do think but I just feel like, we're just kind of flooding our industry with salespeople, and I think we just kind of forget, that there's still a lot of opportunity around developing people, because it's a path of least resistance. That's what I think it is. It is easier to hire a salesperson than to develop a salesperson into a business development expert. So therefore, I think we're almost accepting the fact that it's not all transactional. But when I sold cars, when you sold cars, it had nothing to do with the transaction. It had everything to do with the relationship. And I'm fighting with you probably hear it. I'm fighting back and forth with myself right now. Which one's
Listen,
better?
You're not alone, Jay. I think right? you're identifying the great conflict that we're experiencing right now. You can take a look at Jim Farley's recent announcement from Ford. You don't have to look far beyond that to see,
right?
Where the OEMs want to take this business. The truth of the matter is I just had a really recent experience where, ironically enough, with a Ford dealership, I had referred a colleague of mine to Rob Ruth Ford, and I got to give them a shout out and a nod. Rob Ruth and his crew at Bob Ruth Ford in Dillsburg, PA. They made the best out of a really terrible OEM disaster on an ordered unit over the course of 9 months. And the ball was continually dropped by the manufacturer, and they provided zero solution or resolution to the issue. It took the dealer to ultimately get it done. So, when we talk about, hiring top talent and talking about the importance of relationships and problem solving, that can't be done, quite honestly, by a computer, and certainly can't be done at the OEM level where there's no meaningful connection on a personal level to the end client. I think that when I reference a business development expert, they are just as adept at handling that purely transactional experience as anybody else out there. And that's why I always err on the side of, let me bring in the top talent, because they're going to be able to handle those little everyday transactional pieces just as easily.
I think that's a good point. I think you're right. It's a good point, right? That, someone who's strong in business development can easily just handle the transactional side of it. But I think this also kind of comes down to our brand, which is a perfect segue, kind of what we're, talking about. Now, we're going to talk about personal brands, but, it's not only just the personal brands. Like, the brand of the dealership equates to the individual brands that exist within the dealership. And
yes.
if in those individual brands are in line with your culture, so you hired them right, all right? So everything's going to gel really well together, but I don't think we spend necessarily enough time as a brand, to identify, the why do business with me.
Thanks for tuning in to the Strategy with Jason podcast with your host, Jason Harris. Don't want to miss new content? Be sure to check out the full podcast library at strategywithjason.com to stay in the know. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Happy podcasting.